What I'm going to show you is how I created my goofy images that I have on my layout that I showed at the beginning of this video. There's 3 of them across the top of my screen. I'm only going to do this one here because once you have the concept on how to do this, it's pretty easy to do and you'll be able to duplicate it quickly. So for the speed of the video, I've already placed all my parts that I'm going to need for this character. We have the base image, which has all the lines where you would use to line up all of your pieces when it excuse me, when you cut out the pieces individually. This is just a blackout piece right here, and we are going to use this piece, and it becomes important to know why you use this piece rather than this piece as your base image, and we'll get to that in a little bit. So we have his hat, we have this other piece that I'm not sure where this is for. I think maybe that's his face, his tongue, the gloves, the eyes, and the teeth, his pants and the sleeves, and his shoes here. And that's all the pieces that we're going to need. Okay, so before we go and color all our pieces, once they're on our mat, we need to go in and tell it not to weld our pieces. And the reason for this is because when they're not welded together, or when they are selected to weld together, as soon as you touch the pieces together, they take on the color of the previous piece, or the one you layered it over. And it's a little frustrating, and I'm going to show you an example here. I'm going to take this and I'm just going to make it black, because it's going to be black anyway. And this right now is set to not weld. It's just straight off the keypad, right onto the mat. I've done nothing to it until now where I colored it black. The shoes are also not colored, or not set to not weld. They are set to weld. It's just default with Craft Room. So if I take these and I go and put them over top of this, see how it turned black like that? If we go in and say don't weld, they will remain this color. Now if I take an image and this one here is already set to not weld, if I try to put it over there and take it off, you see how it stays clear, and if we put a color in there, it's not going to pick up this black. I'm going to show you with this orange. If I take this orange and I stick it on here on the piece, even though the base is set to weld, this one is set to not weld. See, it says don't weld. It's not going to change that to black. So I'll go ahead and put this back. So it's important to go ahead and set all your pieces to not weld before you try to layer them, or you're going to be frustrated. Now, in order to stack and layer these, as you can see, like this piece here with his pants also has his shirt layers. He's got a sleeve, another sleeve, and then the body part of the shirt. And as you can see, if we go to try to layer this on here, you're going to see that the shirt pieces up here are going to be in the way. So what we need to do before we do this, before we go and hide everything that we don't need, we are going to have to make 4 copies of this individual image from the cartridge. So we'll have one for his pants, one for one sleeve, one for the other sleeve, and one for his body piece. So what I'll do is I'm going to select it, I'm going to say copy, and then we're going to go and just paste, paste, and paste. So now I have 4 exact images of the same image on my screen. And what we're going to do, I try to line them up. It doesn't matter really where you put them here, because we're gonna manipulate them here in a minute. So the first thing I do is I go in and I'm gonna say hide contour, and I pick a piece that I'm going to keep. So let's keep the pants. So we'll just go and click on the image, it turns red when you highlight it or when you move your cursor over it, and when you click on it, it turns gray. Okay, so we're going to do that, and we're left with just his pants that are visible in black. We'll hit exit, and now all we have here are his pants. So we're going to do that for the rest of our images. Hide contour. We'll hide his pants because we already have that, and we'll select another one to work with. So we're going to leave this sleeve here that's red. We'll go ahead and select this one to disappear and this one to hide, and then we'll go up and say exit, and now we have the one sleeve. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll do that for the rest of these. And I should mention too, instead of having to just move your cursor up and click on the exit up there, if you hit the escape key, it does the same thing. So we're going to just select that one, this one, and the sleeve, leaving us the body part, which is the only one we need yet. I'm just going to hit escape, and we're back to our main screen. So now that I have these here together, what I can do to make it easy for us, for me, is I like to try to do all my coloring at one time. So these three pieces are going to be orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of them by just dragging a box around them, and they'll all be selected. I'm going to come over to colors and patterns. Up top, we're going to come down and select colors, and it defaults to the first cartridge in Craft Room, which is all wrapped up, and it really doesn't matter which cartridge is selected at that point, because we're just going to come down here to this little arrow to go into our Rgb codes, and you can select your colors by either using these arrows to change this number, or now this is build 122, we can go into this box, you can highlight that, and you can just type right in there. So for the shirt, his Rgb code is going to be 255, which we could have left that as what was there. We can hit the tab key, go to our next block, type in 106, over to our next one and type 22, and that's going to give us our orange, as you can see right here, and we just hit apply, and it will automatically color all three of these pieces. Now I'm going to click off of here, and I'm going to take the one arm piece, and we're going to go ahead and put it up here. And I don't really get too crazy as to where I place these images at first, because I'll zoom in real close and place them where they really need to be and line them up real good. So this is just getting it sort of near where it needs to be. So right there is his shirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and I will duplicate all the pieces I need. This piece is going to be by itself, this one by itself, the hat, the tongue. This piece here, we're going to have to make 5 copies of it and go in and hide all our contours on all our pieces that we don't need. Okay, I have all my pieces separated, colored, except for the white pieces, and I'll explain that to you in a second. But I wanted to, before I go and put my hat in place, I just want to show you how to color that in one more time. So we'll select the hat. We're going to come over to our colors and patterns, select our down arrow. We're going to go in here, and his shoes are, no, wait, what are we doing? His hat is 201, 221, and 0, the blue. Okay, and we'll hit apply. And we'll go ahead and stick his hat over here. Now, okay, so you see this base layer that we were using with all the markings. Let me move his pants out of the way so I can show you. It has all these lines. in here. We're not going to be using this layer, or you can leave it here, but then you need to put this layer with it. And the reason for that is any of these cut lines right here are going to cut because that is the bottom layer. Okay, so whatever you have as your base is going to be what it's going to cut around first. So let's put his pants back over here. And I'm going to select this background image, and I'm just going to color that in black for now. And I'm going to zoom in because it's important for you to see. Okay, see how right here in his nose area there's a splotch of white and there's a splotch of black, or white here, and then there's a splotch where it's black for his nose. Okay, if I come into hide contour, as you see, this piece here and this piece here, and there's a piece up here by his hand, and some of these where they don't really line up correctly. I don't know if you've noticed, like when you are doing stuff and you try to layer after you've cut it, and you still see these little reference lines. If you go into high contour, you're going to see these here, and since this is the base or the bottom layer to our piece, what the Imagine does after it prints is it will try to cut out this outline first. And since this outline, our bottom piece, is the full Mickey or the full Goofy where we're coloring them in black, all these little pieces here are also going to cut. So it's going to cut all these in on top of your layered image. So to avoid doing that, this is where you would take this blackout image, and let me move this over here, and if we go into this one and look at the hide contour, you see there's nothing in there, it's all solid, this one little piece, but you'll want that to cut out. Basically it's just one solid piece. So when we put this underneath our main image, and they should match up. You can delete the other one if you want, it's a big deal. But if we put this in here, see how these pieces have disappeared. The white that was showing through, and now we have just black. And that will print out and cut and not have all those silly lines in there that we didn't need to have before. So before I go layer this, we're just going to go ahead and zoom in. And I'm going to move all my pieces into place, and I have to do all my white pieces yet. I haven't done them because they are, if you try to color them while they're on the mat, you kind of can't fit them because the mat's white. So I like to put them over my place where I'm going to use them, and they're not too hard to find if you can remember what they were. This hand, I kind of put it close to where it needs to be. So I'll just go ahead and maneuver this around and maneuver his hat into position. And don't forget, you don't have to worry about this. See this white piece here? You don't have to worry about that because it'll be covered up with our black base image. And I know his eyes are around here somewhere. We'll do his eyes. And we can move his nose into position. What I usually do is I try to make the black around everything about the same, and like with his nose I just try to make the oval so it looks like it's a continuous piece, not like it, not let his nose has got a crease in it. So let's move this over. You can kind of use those like this white line here as a little reference, and maneuver and put all your pieces in place. Here are his teeth. I put them up on his face piece because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to find them again. Okay, this one here, put that in place. So you just continue to do this until you get your image, you know, where it looks good. can't do this and talk at the same time. Okay, and I just got his one hand over here. I need to color that white. And we'll move him around. And his pants, I think his pants are pretty good. Maybe we use a little bit more. And his shoe. I'm going to move that off to figure out where to put that. We got his shoe. You see it leaves that white mark there? And that's going to be cut out. So we have to get rid of those by putting our other piece there underneath. Okay. I think I got everything. Oh no, his tongue's not in spot. Okay. Alright, I think I got everybody where they need to be. So we'll go ahead and move our piece of black solid underneath. And this is exactly the same size as that one with all the cut lines in it. And we're just going to go ahead and you may have to zoom in. What I usually do is his hair right here is a good guide to try to figure out. Let me zoom out a bit. Oh, and I want to select don't weld on this one as well. Our base, we have them all done. And when we go to cut this out, cut and print this out, it's going to print this image and it's going to cut round the base of the image. So you just get the outline. However, you have to do these as individual ones. Like when I did all of these, 3 Goofies, I did one on one matte layer, one on a second matte layer, one on a third matte layer. And the reason you have to do this is when you do the cut and print, it's going to this and then cut, and then you have to stop your Imagine after it does the outline cut. So it's not just a seamless thing. You have to actually interrupt your machine. So there is a pause between where it cuts this out and giving you time to go ahead and stop your machine. Okay, we have our Goofy all colored and ready to go. I'm just going to walk you through the process of getting this over to the Imagine, and then we'll switch over to the Imagine. I'll show you when it cuts and when we have to stop the machine. So we'll just select go. We'll come up with select our device, which is the Imagine. It'll show us our print preview. We're going to leave it at print and cut. Hit go. My Making Friends is already in, so it detected that, and we're going to hit continue. And it'll process this image and send it over to the Imagine. And I'll go over there and we'll show you what we do to complete it. Okay, I'm here at my Imagine, and the file is sent over. And one thing I wanted to mention before we go on is the layer that has all the cut lines in it that are used for your guide for when you are piecing it together instead of doing it this way. You do want to go ahead and remove that layer and just use your black background layer, or go in and hide the contour on all of the inside cuts for that layer. If you have any questions about that, just leave me a comment and I'll see if I can explain it better. So I have my paper on my mat. This is just a piece of scratch paper. I had something on the back that didn't work out, so I just flipped it over and I'm using it for this demonstration. And I'm low on ink, but it's been this way for, I don't know, maybe a week and a half. So once it comes up and says you're low on ink, you're not out yet. It's just giving you a warning, so you can keep going. I usually just go until it starts to print the wrong color. So we'll just hit OK on that and put my paper in and hit go. And we'll let it go. Okay, once it's done its initial cut, I'll show you where we're going to hit the button to cancel. did start to cut a little bit on the next layer, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and peel this off. And peel it off our mat. See if I can do this without tearing him. Get my spatula. We'll pick him right up here. And there he is. There's our Goofy, all colored and cut as one flat image on our Imagine. So it is possible to do. So give it a try, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.